Hi, this is Les Engelstead, and I just want to welcome you to Faith, Fun, and Friendships with Les. Actually, it's going to be faith, friendships, and then have some fun. That's the real name of it. We were just discussing what the heck is the name of the show? Just, you know, it's Leslie Engelstead, and here I am, and so very grateful that I get to be here with you guys today. I get to be back in the kitchen, but it's not even my kitchen. I get to visit this beautiful Layton Broadcasting, and am I ever grateful for it. What we're gonna get on with this recipe, and it's called Oven French Toast. Wonderful, very used cookbook that I rely on now and then, but I just discovered this because I had some day-olds, okay? You got that little French bread or whatever kind of bread with the butts, and what are you gonna do with them? Save them and prepare it for an oven French toast. So that's what we're doing right now. I trust that everybody is feeling a little bit grateful, and if you're not, I'm going to challenge you that today. This, again, I'm just taking 4 eggs right now. I should tell you what I'm doing, but it's a little obvious some of the times when I work in the kitchen. So 4 whole eggs is needed on this. And we are just going to be putting it into the very lovely pan that I'm using today. It's actually quite good. And it's very handy. I've never even thought about it today, but it's perfect. So here we are. We are gonna beat these eggs pretty well in here, okay? And it's so lovely that I get to use, I'm just gonna tell you, a friend of mine, I bought some of her little eggs from the farm. That's what I'm using in this, and it's great to know. And also, a lovely group of friends I work with at Parallel 46, I got the leftovers. So that's what we're gonna participate in, Friendship French Toast. I'll just rename it, I think. Okay, so we've got the eggs just beaten up like that. And meanwhile, in the oven, I'm gonna take this pan and I'm gonna preheat it with a 1/3 cup butter. I've already done that in this pan right now. And so I've got that. I think I'll just leave that be for a minute while I finish this part up. We just have to get this mixed up along with cinnamon and sugar. Recipe calls for a tablespoon sugar, a teaspoon cinnamon, but I always am a little heavy on the cinnamon side. And then we're gonna take this evaporated milk, and I'm using the very, very cool little handy tool here to get this open. And I have just gonna get myself 1 cup of this. So it's going to have a little leftovers. What I did last time is I made a little fudge sauce with it, or you can come up with something. But I'm going to take 1 of those. That's just a half. And then this, because the recipe calls for me to get this all beaten up well, and then just kind of add together. So I'm taking about, right now, a tablespoon, and I'm going to put that into the mix like that. And then I'm going to do the very thing again, another half a cup. And now I'm stirring just a little bit, okay? I'm gonna take that.
What is that?
Cinnamon and sugar mix at home is what I have done right here. So I'm gonna do that again. It calls for about a tablespoon, so here's a little bit more, and also a little more cinnamon. So again, that's just how I heavy duty the cinnamon because it's good for us. It really truly is. If you don't know that part, it does all sorts of wonders in our body. So now it looks like a French toast, but now again, the little extra ingredients of the evaporated milk has gone in there, cinnamon, sugar. And now, as I was saying, what we're gonna probably do here is I'm gonna set this pan that's already been preheated in the oven with my melted butter, just like that, right? And then I'm gonna take my little French, or I keep calling it French. This is actually a croissant bread. It's amazing. And it's what we use for French toast out at the restaurant. So now just dipping in like that, and you're gonna do that generous, you know, pretty generous in there. You should let it soak for a minute. And you definitely, the recipe calls for day-olds, but you can do whatever you want to. I mean, it can be fresh. It still works. Everybody probably is very familiar with French toast making. If not, shame on you. It's a very delightful gift the French gave us. I'm guessing it probably never even came from the French, but we're going to give credit just because it's nice of us to do that. I hope that while you make breakfast for your family, or maybe you have to just make it for yourself, that you can be thinking of all the gifts that you have. You've got a new day. I mean, generally speaking, we make our French toast in the morning. But the days, you never know. You can sit there in your bedroom getting ready to get out of bed and you think, the day is going to be good, right? We're just going to feel it. It's going to be a good day until you get downstairs. And then maybe your kid, maybe it's your husband, maybe it's you, maybe it's something you just stubbed your toe. I mean, who knows what happens? But things happen. And I want to just say that this is what reminded me of French toast today. Is that, but give me a moment, here's our second pan. This recipe tells you can do it 2 different times, like do the first batch and then the second, but hey, we're not about that, we're simplifying here. But anyways, getting back to, you've got yourself thinking you're having a good day and then, bummer, things happen. Well, it doesn't take long is what I'm trying to say. Something happens in our, as soon as that does, our thoughts go. And now our brain is kicking into, what are we going to choose? How are we going to choose to look at this day? I just heard this statement and it was like, oh, going to be one of those days? So you say it out loud and you know truth, your brain right now is going to, I thought this was fascinating, your brain is going to look for ways to see, it really does stink. It really is a hard day. It's just getting worse. If you have said it out loud and start thinking that way, you're going to come down and you're going to miss. Maybe it's your kid having a little paper to show him that he had made for somebody at school, or maybe it's the sunrise on the way to work because you're consistently in your brain telling yourself it's a bad day. But that's what I'm talking about. Why do we get, whoops, see what I do? Just one little mistake. But there again, I could go, oh no, I've made a mistake. But if you have watched my show at all in the last dozen years, you know many mistakes have been made. And we just kind of work through them. That's what I'm saying. I do have a little bit, now getting back to this recipe, I do have a little bit left over. So I'm not afraid to put a little bit more on top of some of this. Again, I've already snuck that other batch into the room. So you're going to get a little eggy if you do this. But I noticed the last time I did it, it worked out okay because this is just a little more richer, a little bit more to it. And this is not in the recipe, mind you, but I just feel like, why not shoot a little more sugar and oh, I know it's a bad rap this sugar gets, but if you want to do it this way, it'll be fun. And just a little bit more on these. We'll test it. We'll have this one with a little more sugar. The other one will be just as the recipe calls for the most part. But I think we're going to be delighted if we have a little more of that. And this is what it basically looks like, okay? So the other pan is already in. And now this is just going to be baking in the oven for about 10 minutes. And then we'll take it out. We're going to flip it around and give it another 6 minutes. That's what's ahead for you. Okay, we'll talk with you in just a quick little minute.
When you list your home with Jack Shivers Realty, you don't just get a sign in the yard, you get a team working faster and smarter to sell your home. We utilize radio, digital advertising, social media, and even trade shows to make sure your home gets noticed by the right buyers. And our agents, they don't just show houses, they help you through every step of the process. Because selling your home deserves more than the basics. It deserves a team with reach, resources, and results.
Hi, welcome back. We are about to take this little French toast delight out of the oven. Now it is bubbly and hot and buttery, and we are going to turn this over. Now, I don't think necessarily that you have to get too uptight about how long you leave in the oven or anything, but hopefully it flips out pretty easily, and I'll just show you. We'll just do it off, and it's, like I said, that one pan of ours it's a little bit more eggy, probably because I poured over the top. But we are going to go like this, and this is another thought that I had, that why not? I was pouring, as I was making this today, that cinnamon and sugar mix. So what I want to tell you is that this one doesn't like me as much. So this is flipping. This is the one that I poured the extra. So we're going to flip that on over. But the cinnamon and sugar, anyways, is just an option. And you can do a tablespoon to a teaspoon of cinnamon. But I just do heavy favor on the cinnamon and look for a darker color in the cinnamon sugar mix. So here we go. We have flipped it over. We're heading into the oven for round 2. See you soon. That little bugger. There. Okay, we have one last step, and that is to look at our oven baked French toast. There is the one that's not so pretty, that extra that I put on there. Yeah, it's not as pretty as this one, but there we are. We are looking at this, and we are going to take our fun spatula, and we are going to give ourselves a treat here. Hopefully, again, I did sneak a little, my cinnamon sugar shaker. Oh, that's a chunky one. Cinnamon sugar shaker that I always have in the closet. And I pull it on out to treat toast. But on French toast, I did put a little bit of that on for this one. And you certainly don't have to add any more sugar or cinnamon. Just a wee bit if you care to, or you sweeten the treat up. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoy and you make it an amazing day, because it is a gift at that. See you next time.